Welcome to Fillmonique's World Podcast. I'm Fillmonique, and I'm here to do a deep dive conversation with my girl, Rocky Rivera,
Hey.
a good friend of mine. But we're going to talk about fashion, art, fitness, and mental health, and a little bit of something extra. So I want her to introduce herself and let her share some of her stuff because I'm not going to have to do it for her. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay. My name is Rocky Rivera. I am good friends with Fillmonique. I'm a journalist, first and foremost, and I'm an MC. I'm an activist. I'm a mother. I'm a columnist on KQED Food. I have a column called Frisco Foodies currently. And the way that I know Monique is we've been in the music industry, well, I have, and she's become my stylist for my personal music career. So I'm very lucky to have met her and to have both grown into this role together.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, so the first question is, do you remember our first encounter?
Of course.
Okay.
Come on, like who's...
So I had to put this question in here. Yes.
Okay, let me recount it and see how much I remember versus what you remember.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so I was working for this magazine called Ruckus Magazine, and I was the editor-in-chief, and they were shooting a music video for Big Rich.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what song it was, but...
That's the business.
That's the business. Okay, that's the business. And so I pulled up Dolo to the Fillmore. I was late. I was in my 91 Acura Legend, my gold one. That's my car right there. And I pulled up, and they had already moved the shoot to down the block. And the only person that was left on the block was Monique. I think she was late also. And so when I saw her, I was like, "Are you here for the Big Rich thing?" She's like, and I just basically said, "Hop in my car." And so I didn't even know who she was. She just seemed so cool that I was like, you know what? You seem safe. Come hop in my car. So we drove down the block to where Big Rich was. But I don't even remember whether or not we made it.
I think we did.
Did we make it to the... We made it over there.
It moved to the Visadero.
Yes.
So they moved it to the Visadero. And I think I got something from my brother or something so he can have to, because he was like in the video. I was like an extra. But he was in the video because, you know, it's our block. So he wanted them to all be in it. So I think I went to go get something, like some jeans or something I did for my brother or something like that.
Early styling.
And that's when,
Early styling. Just the beginnings of what would become with Monique.
Yeah.
And so basically, as soon as she hopped in my car, I don't know if we lit a joint or something. I might have always just had a joint lit in my car.
I think it was.
We might have just lit that joint, drove down the street. Yes.
And I was like, I do smoke.
Okay. So she must have smoked with me, which is why we're friends forever. But just that one incident since then. We stayed in touch.
We hung the whole shoot.
Yes,
like we literally
did.
was together for a couple of hours and we was talking and you was like, I like you, yo. Swag, I'm gonna call you Fillmonique.
And that was the day, the day I met you was the day that I called you Fillmonique, because I met you in the Mo. We was rolling around in the Mo, and I was so happy to have you in my car with me because it was just me. So is there anything I forgot?
And it was funny because you was like, you really from Fillmo. Like, I'm really with somebody from Fillmo. And I remember that because I was cracking up because I was like, I guess I am. Because I felt like I was a square. Like, of course, I grew up in that, you know, that area, the block. I was hella artist, hella in fashion. I was working at True. So but I was really from the Mo. Like, And
that's why I loved
funny.
it.
Yeah.
Because at True, I even got into it with them because they wasn't hiring nobody from the city. They wasn't hiring nobody from the hood. They was rude as hell when I walked in. And I'm like, if you're going to be rude to me, at least put a little city girl up in here that's cute. And luckily they put Monique in there. I was like, you guys better hire from this area because every time I come up on Hay Street, it's annoying as hell. Y'all be hella rude to me in this little shoe store or whatever. Wow. But every time I see Monique, she hella nice, she hella friendly. She's from the city. So I'm going to go ahead and support her. But we just stayed friends after that. Like
Yeah,
we
we
didn't
stayed
even.
friends. We went out.
You were at my first
Then I-
video shoot,
Yes, you remember I gave you
and
my
you gave
earrings?
me your earrings. So that was the first.
I was like, you need you a little something.
So that was the first time Monique ever unofficially styled me. Was for my first
I
video
remember
shoot.
that. I was all fixing you up.
You
and
might have even
stuff.
pulled it off your own ears.
Yeah,
or
I did.
something.
I took them out.
Yeah.
I was like, you need a little something
Yeah.
extra. Pulled your hair
Ooh,
back.
yes.
Yeah, and I got that picture. It was me, Rita, and Pep.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I got that too.
So I got that picture. Yeah, we had a lot of good memories.
Over 20. I feel like it's been. Has it been 20 years?
It's
yet?
been 20 years. Yeah, it's been a while.
Oh
I
my
know.
God, I can't believe it.
It's been a while. So okay, so we're gonna change it up a little bit. We're gonna go back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
So this is your rap career.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go into that. What drew you to rap? Because I know you started with journalism, and that's your love, like always. But what drew you into the rap career, like the rap culture?
Yes. So I decided to rap because when I was doing these interviews with these rappers, there wasn't a lot of content. There wasn't a lot of conversation. I was getting tired of wanting to ask these really deep questions. And what I realized was that I was not seeing what I cared about being represented in hip hop, which is, pro people of color, pro women, pro revolution, anti-capitalism, anti-racism. And I wasn't seeing that because growing up in the 90s, we saw hip hop just literally hit that aspirational lifestyle. And it was really annoying because most of the people that I knew weren't living like that. And so it just became a point where the magazines that I was writing for, I was getting tired of their bureaucracy. I was getting tired of them always being like, who are you writing for? You're writing for men. You're writing for a certain type of audience. You have to speak in this institutional voice. And I was getting really tired, whether it was the Source magazine or whether it was Rolling Stone magazine, I still had to write for an audience that didn't reflect me. So after I won the Rolling Stone MTV reality show called I'm From Rolling Stone, which aired in 2007, I was like, I'm done, girl. I did everything I wanted to do. I worked for Rolling Stone. I won this contributing editor contract. I lived in Manhattan for a summer. What else was there for me to do in journalism? But what I didn't know was that journalism would eventually crumble, like the industry itself, and make way for social media. So I made that transition into a rapper because I felt like I was more in control of my message. I was more proud to really speak on who I was. As a journalist, you're not really even supposed to talk about yourself, like, ever. And I think my story still needed to be heard. So I really wanted to focus on my own story, my own writing, instead of like investing my career into other people.
I love that. I never knew that. That was a good question. I never knew that. I was just like, wow, I got goosebumps. Girl, yes. I never knew that. So that's why I wanted to ask that question.
Thank you.
You know, sometimes you see, you talk to rappers, you don't never ask that question, like, how did you get in rap?
Yeah,
some do, but not all. Like, what's the deep behind, why did you get in rap?
It wasn't easy. I mean, it wasn't easy looking like me, trying to hit these hip hop stages. It's still not easy.
Yeah.
But from that, I developed a really strong core fan base that is represented when they see me up there. They do feel seen when I'm up there. I do represent a message and a demographic and a look that they never thought an MC would look like. And because I did it, it gives them more permission to be in those spaces where they felt like they didn't belong either. Yeah.
Love that. Okay, we're going to switch it up again. We're going to go back and forth, like I said.
Of course.
Okay, fitness. What do you cherish about your fitness journey?
My fitness journey. Oh, yeah. Most fitness journeys start with grief journeys, don't they? I feel like you and me have parallel grief journeys.
We do.
I think that people who subject themselves to that much torture of running a marathon or training for something, it's like, y'all, we working on some deep stuff. But at the same time, it's a way of dealing with our mortality, isn't it? Knowing that we're not going to be here forever, knowing that every moment that we have is, especially after your accident, knowing that being healthy and strong is something we shouldn't take for granted. And also that my favorite part of my running journey is that it took me like 15 years before people started being like, okay, you're not crazy for running for no reason on a perfectly nice Saturday.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
or you're planning a 10-mile run in the Embarcadero because you want to. That's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy to some people. But I think that mentally, right, if you could put yourself through that and commit, right? Because first you got to commit to a race. So running is my chosen form of fitness because it's free. I live by Lake Merritt, so that's my pool. That's my backyard. That's my amenity. And because it connects me to this really supportive group of people that I never knew existed. And so when I run with you, when we ran the giant race together, or when I train and do long runs with my homegirl, it's this different kind of friendship because we all know why we're doing it. It's not for superficial reasons. It's because we want to be around. We want to be healthy. We care about ourselves. We invest in ourselves. We pour into ourselves. Because the second that you wake up, everybody's asking for you to take care of them. Take care of me, do this for me. And Monique wakes up very early, earlier than me. And what's inspiring about your fitness journey is that it's not based on a race, an event. It's every day. And it takes mental discipline and it takes such strength. And what I realize that as a performer, I get the same butterflies before a race that I do with the show. I get the same fears. I get the same I want to quit. I get the same I want to throw up. I don't know how to do this. But once you face it and once you just go through it and trust your training, it mirrors a lot of like really difficult experiences in life where you just embrace the suck, I guess. Embrace it, but also say like, this is for me and this is not for anybody else. It's for my family, but really it's for me too. And that's how I pour into myself.
Yeah, I love that. Well, I wanted to tell you something because I never told you. So I remember when I did my first marathon. I don't know if we did that.
I
one
feel like it was the
together,
same one, 2014, right?
but I remember before I trained for it, and I never told nobody this. I never told you this, so that's what I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
You were running, and I was like, I was in fitness and stuff at that time, but I was like, I don't know if I can run. And of course, I used to run like when I used to do softball and stuff. But it's a little different. It's like a sprint run, and I'm a good sprinter. So I was like, I could do that's easy.
Yeah.
But I was like, I think I'm going to follow Chris, and I'm going to start running. And I was so happy that I made because, number one, even after the high rides, running will always be my go-to because of that mental thing that it does. Like, it gives you this mental high, but it gives you a high of you can do it and you have to talk to yourself good. And that's what I love about running because I have to be nice to myself. I have to motivate myself. I have to if
cheer
as soon as
yourself
I get
on.
Wrong, like think like, oh, you can't do this. It's a wrap. So, and even Wednesday, I had such a hard time running.
I saw that.
When I was late.
You were at the track, right?
I was at the track. I was late. I was like 20 minutes late. They were already doing their drills. And so I had to jump in. I didn't even get to do my warm-up. I was like, literally, I didn't even want to be here. But I finished. I was the last one. I was the last one showed up, and I was the last one. But I was like, this is what it's about. It's about showing up for yourself. So I love that you showed up for yourself because it showed me that I can show up for myself. And that's what it's about with friendships and just family and stuff, just showing people how to show up for themselves. So I just wanted to say thank you.
Oh my God.
Because I'm a runner because of you. So
I love that.
I'm a runner because of you. Because you was like, oh yeah, I'm about to run. And I'm like, dang, can I run?
I was just trying to get that Tiffany necklace at the end back in 2014 from them firemen. That's what got me running the Nike Women's Marathon. But that was fun because it was all women.
Yeah,
right? It was all
really
women.
Cool. And it was so inspiring. I actually enjoyed running that marathon. And that training was hard. Like, the training for that was hard. But I can train for a marathon. High rise is a different level. I was literally wanting to give up. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this. But like I told one of my teammates, I said, one and done. One and done.
Nah, that's exactly how to get it done. You don't think about the next mile. Yeah. You don't think about the next race. You don't even think about the run tomorrow. Like, I got a 10-mile run tomorrow. I do not sleep on those night before them long ass runs. I do not, because I'm like having to take accountability. Yeah. That's really what it is. It's like, you said you were gonna go hit Embarcadero at 8 a.m. Yes. You better go do that now. So I'm so glad that happened, Mo. I started Rocky's Run Club because I did want more people of color, especially women of color, to run, because at those races, I would only see certain demographics and they did not
Yeah.
look like us. And I
Yes.
was like, we need to be strong, we need to be
Mhm.
fit, and we need to be represented
Mhm.
in all these healthy people that were here. So
Yeah.
that's my goal.
Yeah.
More
And
people to
changing
run.
that subconscious, like get that negative stuff and rewire it to your conscious and
Mm-hmm.
say, hey, look,
Mm-hmm.
I can run. It's
Exactly.
not, and it's, I'm learning it's okay for people to look at you crazy.
Mm.
You're doing
Oh,
something right when they look at you
yes.
crazy
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
you are digging deep within you, ripping out those boxes. You
Mm-hmm.
are doing what you want to do, and it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to be crazy. I was telling myself that the other day. I was like, it's okay to be crazy because you're doing what you want to do, and it's your world. Like you have to step out of what people think. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
That's great
yeah,
advice. Don't be afraid to make people look at you crazy.
because people
Because
gonna,
they'll understand later. They
they
gonna
will,
understand
because they gonna
later.
be like, well, what's going on with you?
It
Yeah,
ain't worth
slide
it.
on
It ain't
back.
worth it unless somebody looking at you like that's impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
then when you
love
make
that.
it happen, they're like, oh, it can happen. And then you inspire so many different people, and then they step up, and then their dreams come true. So, hey, I do it for the bigger cause. But okay, so we're gonna switch it up. We kind of answered this in the first one, but then I might just ask you. Maybe we can go into detail. Okay, why did you call me Fillmonique? Why did you give me that nickname?
Because I'm a writer, girl. I'm clever. And I meet so many people that I'm bad with names. I'm good with usernames. I'm good with Instagram names.
I'm not.
When I read things, I remember it better than if somebody said, "Hi, my name is so and so." So it's kind of like a mnemonic device, I guess. Like when I say somebody's name and I have to associate it with something else, otherwise I'm gonna forget your name. And so my name is very unique, obviously Krish, right? Like my real name. So sometimes I say Rocky because people don't know what a Krish is. They're just like, "What is that, Trish?" And I'm like, "No." So anybody that has a really difficult ethnic name or something, I feel for you and I understand you. And also, you're allowed to choose whatever name that's easiest for you. But as far as Monique and Fillmonique and Philmo and not Philmore, Philmo, okay, that's how we call it in the city because we grew up listening to Bay Area rap. It just was so perfect. Like, how could nobody ever put this together for you before? Like, how did you live all them years without anybody create? I guess you were just waiting for me to come bless you.
That's why everything happens for a reason.
Exactly.
You know? So, yeah, she got, and it sticks because people literally like Stunner Man on 2 always come out. What's up with Phil?
Oh, I love
always
that.
say it.
Shout out to Stunner Man.
I shouldn't have told you my other nickname. But yeah, so I was like, eventually I'll take it on, and that's why I wanted you to be my first guest because I was like, it makes sense. Why am I,
Yay.
So thank you.
I love it when shit sticks. Yeah, because that means it's perfect.
Yes, it does. Okay, so mental health. We talk about mental health. What do you do for your well-being? What do you do for yourself to fill your cup with mental health?
Well, definitely fitness is one big portion of that because it's the everyday practice of being in your body and pushing yourself to do uncomfortable things. But also, I think that just not scheduling things back to back for myself anymore. Like, I remember when I was in my 20s, working at a nonprofit, trying to do this rap stuff, trying to raise my kid. And I was like going from like after school program to like a happy hour to like a weekend thing. And I was just getting burnt out. Yeah. And so my DJ and we both were working nonprofit and then performing on the weekends. And we were like, we're just give. And we were never getting to rest in between. And so when you work as a community activist / community artist, and then you also work nonprofit, it's like, when am I ever going to get to do anything for me? Everybody's always expecting me to serve others. And I love doing it when I want to do it. But when do I get to take care of myself? So really what I did was I quit my job and I started working for myself. And I also started only taking on writing gigs and artist gigs that fit certain criteria. And I'll share that with you later. Okay. I even put a rubric. So I created a planner. So this falls in line with mental health because it incorporates CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. That's what therapists use to help people with anxiety.
Okay.
And so there's exercises in my planner that help you dictate, is this something that I should commit to, or is there something that I should pass on? And as women, we are overcommitting to too many things. We're people pleasers. We want people to like us. We don't want to let people down. And so we say yes to everything. And that's the
Yeah.
worst thing you could ever do. So I think the number one thing I learned in this past year specifically, and especially into my 40s, like this is the real gem I'm about to drop on y'all. It's called Essentialism. And Essentialism is a book that I read recently that I integrated those exercises also into my planner. And it really helps you kind of quiet the noise, figure out what's important to you, and only commit to those things that meet or exceed your minimum criteria.
Okay.
So that could be anything from a podcast like this to a performance at a festival. I apply the same rubric across the board because I know what my criteria is. I know what's going to make me want to get up and drive somewhere or get up and fly somewhere and put my best foot forward. I know what dollar amount that equals to. And I think it takes a long time for women to value themselves and say, I won't get out of bed. I won't leave my city. I won't leave the comfort of what I do if you cannot meet this minimum value, whether it's a time value, a monetary value, or because, you know, they want us to network forever. I hate networking. It's like, what is networking? Me and you are friends. We work together.
Yeah.
And we're professional and we can work together. And I think that you can work with your friends and you can be professional as long as everybody's on the same team and got the same goals. So my self-care, my mental health care is to say no to 99% of everything that don't align with you and say an enthusiastic yes to those things that exceed that criteria.
Yeah, I agree. I'm in the era of saying no. I told myself, like, in my 40s, when it comes to speaking up for myself, I'm speaking up. And I'm speaking up in such a way where it's like articulating myself to the T, where it's like, look, this is not for me. This don't align with me. And I'm going to have to say no. Or just let people know I don't have the capacity for it. And I'm loving it for myself. I'm making some people mad, though. But I'm okay with that because I know that I'm set out to do, I'm in my purpose now, and I need to follow that instead of following what people want me to do. Also, when you just said people pleasing, I literally had to come out of people pleasing because it was just hindering me and making me bitter and going into this place of bitterness because I'm people pleasing for other people. So I'm in the era now. And
we in the era, no.
You in the era. So I'm so happy that I'm there because people getting upset at me, I'm just like, whatever. I gotta do what's
not your
best
problem.
for me. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I know where my heart is. I know what I'm doing. I know how I feel about people, and I know I move in love. So it's not to discredit them or, to shun them. It's just to say I can't do it. Like, I'm just not me. So I just learned that about myself. It's a no for me.
It's a no.
It's a no.
Respectfully.
So, yeah,
I respectfully decline. It's easy. Once you learn those little phrases, it's like a cheat code.
Too, you see who's really there. Because when people tell me no, I'm like, okay, well, I figured it out. And it's just, when people tell me no, I become a solution-based person.
You don't take it personally either.
You're
just like, oh, well, yes,
That's all I do. I go right in solution mode. Like, okay, well, let me figure this out. Let me go this way. Or ask someone else.
Exactly.
It's that simple. Like, don't get offended. Don't take things personal. For agreements, I always talk about that. You have to ask. I think it is good to ask for things. But if they say no, respect their no and move on. So that's just something I had to learn. But you also reveal people of who gets upset at your no. Yeah. Because then you only good as your yeses for them.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah. Okay. So, let's go into fashion. So, how does fashion play a significant role with your brand? And why is it important to you?
Fashion didn't used to play a role. It was literally like whatever I had in my closet, I was going to put in a video, and it was so hard to be my own stylist. So that's why I'm so grateful to have you because when you put yourself in a position where you have to be seen publicly, you can't always catch all the angles that you see other people see you. And the one thing that's hard to do when you do everything else for yourself is to find somebody who got your back, who will make sure that your stray hair is tucked in your ear, or that your collar is straight, that your tattoos are short, whatever, just making you feel the most confident you can be. And I have never felt that except when I started working with you, Monique.
Aw, thank
Because
you.
not just you know my style and you know how to shop for me and you know my size even when I fluctuate, which is amazing for a woman stylist. I would never be able to get that with a man stylist. He would never understand how bloated you are in that first week of your period. Like, he would never understand like how you don't feel good and how you just got to try different things on even if you don't think it's going to fit. For me, fashion, because I rap and I have to create videos, it speaks to my audience in ways that my words don't, because it's nonverbal. And so for the very reasons why you love fashion, for me, it's a job. I have to almost put a uniform on, but it's also a job to consider what is that uniform that you're wearing that's different from your everyday. Because as a mom, as a freelancer, you don't want to see what I'm wearing every day. I'm pretty much pajamas from the bottom down, and I don't even be on, even if I am on a Zoom, I'm a rapper. I ain't got to be in a tie or nothing. I'm just wearing athleisure all day. If I'm not going for a run at the lake with my leggings on, I'm going to a workout class. I'm a mom. So comfort is number one, right? So my personal style is gorecore, normcore, athleisure. And that's because I used to work at Timberland, I used to work at North Face, and I love hiking and I love performance wear. I'm just an active person. But when it comes to Frisco style, Bay Area style, I lean on you a lot because you from the city. And I trust you. And I know you're never going to put me in anything that look corny because we from the same era. And so when you have somebody that fashion-wise can understand you, but also help you shape your own sense of style, you're lucky. And I wish everybody had a stylist like you in their back pocket. I tell people all the time, like, she don't just do music videos. She'll style you for your conference. She will help you create a capsule wardrobe. I know you can do that. So just like I'm hella flexible when it comes to being a writer, I think that fashion and what you do, your background in costume design, the fact that you have styled different kinds of people, different sizes, all different shapes is so important. So fashion needs to be accessible, and I think that's what you make it. So I love it.
I appreciate that. I was talking to somebody not too long ago, and he was asking me, you know, why do you style people and how do you get to style them? And I said, I get to know them. And I ask questions and I ask things like what you're comfortable with, what you're not comfortable with, what colors you like. And I ask these questions, then I go deeper. Like, as, you know, be around the person. Like, with you, we friends, so I'm able to be around your family, and I understand you in so many different ways. So I know that you like to be comfortable. So if I'm dressing you that way, I add a little bit. But you are so, I love this because it's something is outside of the box, but it's still you. And I always want to make sure that anything I put you in is you and you're comfortable, because I know that's something that you care about. I want to be comfortable. I don't want to be uncomfortable. And I think a lot of times people with fashion, yes, I'm a person that I will be so uncomfortable in clothes. But it's times where, because every day, like you said, we working out, so you gonna see me in leggings and stuff. But because people walk up to me and people are knowing me now, I have to make sure I get dressed. You gotta rise to the occasion. So like, I do, you know, I kind of trip a little bit more when it comes to my clothing and like my athletes wear and stuff like that. But sometimes I'll be like, I don't have the capacity. I just want to put some sweats on, and I'm sure I'm in that place where I don't want to do that. So my point is, you as a stylist, I always make sure that I know you inside out to be able to bring that look alive and make sure you're comfortable. I think a lot of times some people just don't care about that aspect. I never want to force nobody in something they don't love. So, and I have put you in a lot of stuff that I was like, I don't know if she's going to do this. And you was very open. So I was like, okay, I know exactly who she is now. So you just know lucky. That person inside out.
Yay.
What'd you say?
I said, I'm lucky to have you because a lot of stylists don't do that. They just there for the whatever it is.
Yeah, because
But
it's
also,
not about me.
but
Like,
here's the thing though, is how can more people like us follow our paths without thinking it's impossible? Because I know there's not a lot of stylists that look like you. There's not a lot of rappers that look like me. Why do you think representing who you are? I'm over here asking you questions.
I was going
I'm
to
just
open
saying,
it up for you, too.
why do you think that somebody who looks like you from the place that you're from, it's so important to show the possibilities of what you can do, especially since I'm not sure if you ever saw that growing up on television or anything like in the fashion world.
I mean, and I did find who they was because of the movies and stuff we watched. That's why I don't care how rich and successful or wherever I go, at the end of the day, I'm always going to be rooted in who I am. I'm a black woman. I come from the hood, but you can always grow out of that. You just never forget where you come from. So I did, because I love fashion so much, I figured out who was who. So, like, I think her name is June Abrocious or something, but she...
Ambrosia.
Yeah,
I know her.
She styled Belly and all these different things, but a lot of people didn't even know who she was. But I did. I was obsessed with her when I was younger. And then also because I went into costume and all that stuff, that's like my first real introduction with fashion was costume. So my mentor, she was a costume designer, so I learned how to sew everything with her.
Yeah.
But I was obsessed with costumes and stuff like that, so I would like figure out who's who, but it wasn't. She was like the only one for a very long time that was in movies and stuff, and it was you know, black movies and you know, white movies and stuff. They didn't have nobody really on the crew, hair, nothing that was black.
Yeah.
They would have white women do black women hair, and their hair would look
crazy.
bad. You could tell. Like,
That's crazy.
I think Angela Bassett even talked about like one time where she got her hair done and they just could not do her hair, you know? So we're not represented, but I think the times are changing, and it's good, like how we had the Met Gala on Monday, how we were represented in fashion in a whole nother way, and it's just how much history has, you know, it's just so much history there, and people didn't even know. So it like educated people, and I think that's gonna open a lot of doors for stylists, black designers, just anybody of color. It'll open it up more because that's the culture. It's like culture is there, and people, fashion, just that swag is there too, you know. So it was hard coming up, but I think because I was so resilient, and I'm like, I'm not gonna be a product of my environment, I'm gonna go out there. So I made sure that I was in art, like me working at KQED. That's why I got production background, or me just
I didn't know you worked for KQED also.
yeah,
I was.
it was like a younger intern. It's in my, it's actually in the that interview that I did. But I was intern, and I did Heroes. It was like so I interviewed the hero from my costume design. She was a costume designer. She was my mentor, so I interviewed her. So she was my she was my hero because that's how I learned everything. I learned sewing. I learned everything about costume theater from her, that part of it. So that gave me a whole career. Like, a lot of people don't even know that I have a costume design career, you know? So she was everything to me. I love her to pieces still. I still talk to her. But I worked in all these things, but I put myself in position, and I knocked on those doors.
Yeah.
And I even had to tell myself, like, Monique, you remember the Monique you was when you was 18, 19, because you got in people's face and was like, this is what I want. So that person, I had to reintroduce myself to that, like, really ambition person, like just getting in, you know. So I did all those things because I knocked on doors, but it wasn't there for me. So I will be like the only black girl in a lot of those classes and stuff. They did open it up more as I went on, but for a long time I think KQED, I think it was only two black people in that class, and it was like for students. And it was showing us the production. You know, those kind of programs back in the day, they started production.
I think they still have a youth intern program there.
Yeah. So I got into that. And I got into that on my own. On my own. Like, I literally, I think I seen the paper, And I went to KQD and was like, I want to do the youth. And they was looking at me like, what? And I was like, and they was like, oh, it's about to close. I was like, well, is it closed? They was like, no. Took the paper. I literally sat on the floor and started filling it out. And I gave it to the lady, and she was like, okay, I'm going to go put it in right there. I got it. Because I had so much experience because I worked at Brava. I worked at, I think it was called Bayvac.
Yeah, it's still around.
Yeah. So I worked at all these different things because I was so like, I want opportunity. So I made my opportunity. I really got into like mentorship and all that stuff young. So that's how I made my career go. A lot of people don't know this about me. This is actually my first time talking about it, but yeah. So that's how I made myself
I just
have
found
these
out something
opportunities.
new.
Yeah.
I
Because
love
a lot
that.
of people don't know. I mean, it's because, of course, it was in like high school.
Yeah.
But I worked all the time because I had all these jobs.
That's
like,
how long
jobs.
you've been in the game.
Yeah.
So you got to count that too.
Yeah. So, yeah. I thank you for that question. That was a good question. Okay. So, this is a good one. This is my favorite one. I put it at the end so we can chop it up.
Okay.
Okay. So, let's talk about the hyphy movement.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Okay. So, tell me some stories. I don't know because some of my memories is kind of... But tell me some stories you think you remember of us. Just tell me some stories. I just want to hear some of y'all fun stories of the hyphy movement. Because, look, y'all, we was there.
We was there.
We was there. If you see the note on thing, we was there. And that was a good time to be alive.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
It
It was
fun.
uploaded when we was in high school. It was going down. And then after, so we was there.
Yeah, you might have been in high school. I was in college doing journalism. So I was actually following my major of journalism when the hyphy movement came out. And what's crazy was that my final story for journalism class that I pitched was based on Cougnut and other city rappers that had gotten killed. He died in a car accident, but a lot of the other rappers that came out of Hunters Point also, they got killed before they blew up. And that was like my thesis.
Okay.
And literally a month later, Mac Dre got shot. And so everybody, when they found that out, they were like, this is terrible news. But what's crazy is that you pitched this story already, and now you have the scoop right now. Like, go get it. And so when people realized that I was writing about Bay Area rap as a college student, they plugged me. So they were like, oh, you want to write about Bay Area rap? Nobody else gives a damn about Bay Area rap. Here, I'm going to link you up. So I think my first interview was with Juice, with a G. Juice, they had a Bullies with Fullies album. Listen, this is some deep. This is pre-hyphy. Okay, Bullies with Fullies. If you don't know Bullies with Fullies, you not from the Bay Area. Juice flaked on me. Okay, he never came, but because of that plug, I got linked up to mob figures, Jacka, who I became very close to. Recipes to Jacka, that's my boy. Because Juice flaked on me, Jacka came through and we became really, really close. And that's when I started working for Ruckus magazine. So one funny hyphy story I have that I might not have shared with you is I went to one summer jam ever. And it was 2005. Okay. So it was, hyphy movement was just popping off. And I had the front row seats. Okay. My seat was AA. Right here, I'm listening. I'm watching Guapole. I'm doing a event review. Okay, so then they go, okay, so we're gonna bring some artists out, right? We're gonna bring the team out. We're gonna bring E40 out. We're gonna bring everybody out. And I was like, oh no, I'm about to lose my seat right now. Oh no, do I want to fight for my seat? So everybody came rushing down from the bleachers to the stage. And riot popped off. And I was sitting there like, oh my God, do I want to hold on to the seat or is it just going to be, you going to lose it? But we were getting squished. God. And so I was like, okay, I saw a friend of mine on the other side of the barrier. And I was like, if it gets crazy, hop over the barrier, get backstage, okay? Because you know that guy right there. And so sure enough, more and more people started packing the stage. More and more people came. My girl who I came with, she was a photographer, but she was in the pit. So she was safe. Okay. But I was in the crowd, and I'm little. So I'm over here. But see, because I smoke weed and I see signs, I saw it was about to happen. I said, oh, I can see into the future. I'm going to get crushed. This is the beginnings of the hyphy movement. So I said, you know what? Boop. I hopped over the barrier. I had my friend pull me over. And shortly after, everybody came down, got crushed. Somebody got sliced. Like, it was crazy.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. I got to see Casey and JoJo from backstage. They performed looking crazy. Like, I got to see the rest of the show from backstage. But then it showed me that, like, no matter what, nothing is worth your safety. I don't care how cracking your seat is. I don't care how fun something seems. Things can get scary really quick. Real quick with the, I guess that's the danger and the fun of the hyphy movement.
Yeah,
is that things will get dangerous very quick. If you are somewhere near them cars is doing donuts, or if you somewhere near a stage in 2005 when the hyphy movements pop up, you might get caught in some crazy shit. So while I was there witnessing it all, it was also scary too, because it's like you never realize how much of your life you put in somebody else's hands. And then after like the whole Travis Scott like Astro World thing, like I realized how many situations I was in as a fan and as a journalist where things didn't end up well for other people. And so I'm much more aware. That's like a 40-year-old talking about the hyphy movement, like, watch out for them crowds. Don't get caught up.
I'm literally seeing some crazy stuff during it's just an outer, I think for me, with my experience, it's an outer body experience when you are in, you seeing a sideshow from, and I used to see, like, we used to sneak to Oakland in high school, and then the hyphy, after I got out of high school, then that's when it just started going. But a lot of those, like, if I think about some of the things I do remember, it was out of body. I remember one time I was like dancing and I felt like I was floating. I was not on nothing.
That was like moshing for us.
Nothing. And it was like,
when you get hyphy and you like getting hyphy next to somebody, you not hurting them. You just popping their collar.
Gone. And he was like, you was hitting it. So he was telling me that a lot of it is ancestors, like it's African things that he was saying when you guys saying. I was feeling myself, I was gone, and everybody was hyping, but I was just, and I was young, so I was hitting it, and I was like, this is so crazy how I just felt like. I'm sure, like, if somebody was in church and they was feeling it, but I just was feeling the music.
That was our Bay communion right there. That was, we were talking about the Holy Ghost, but it was a Holy Ghost of Mac Dre, though. It was Furl.
So
it was
a
ghost of Furl.
Body experience, and you feel good too, like you like releasing stuff, you know.
Absolutely.
So I would say like a hype, so you can see stuff happening because you don't know what they releasing. You don't know they releasing some demons.
But it's positive. At the end of the day, even though those are scary situations, and I think what I took away from the hyphy movement was that every artist that I interviewed was going through some real deep trauma and grief. They were just getting out of jail. Like when Mac Dre did the whole Fizz movement, it was because he was making gangsters feel cool enough to take Fizz and show each other love and not fight. And that's what the whole Fizz was about, was people were tired of being hardcore every single time. They were tired of not dancing at parties. They were tired of fucking scaring the hoes. They were tired of everything. We wanted something that was like fun and on the outside it seemed crazy, but it was definitely a way for, like you said, to be in touch. And seeing that scene in Sinners was like really cool. To have that hyphiness incorporated in the ancestral dance. I love the way you put that.
Yeah, because that's how I feel. Like, because I thought about it after I saw Sinners. I was like, oh wow, I do remember that when I was in and I wasn't on it because I had just gotten there, and I think it was Mac Dre or somebody came on, and I think it was Mac Dre.
It probably was.
And I was in there, just in the middle, and everybody, and it was just like a whole, and it was just straight vibes. Like, it was just,
I made hella friends on that
like
dance
so
floor.
high and just really tapping in endorphins and stuff, and that was crazy. And I was maybe like just made 21, I think. And I think I went to the club by myself, and I was waiting for my friends to get there, and I was just dancing that whole night. I danced, and me and the dude, he was just telling me, like, yeah, that's their ancestors coming out. And he kept saying it, too. He was like, they're the ancestors.
He said that back then?
He walked up to me. He was like, yo, ancestors are coming out, like, you're releasing. And he was like kind of like a hippie dude. So me and him was just dancing the whole night.
Yeah, because hippies got down with us, too.
Yeah, because it was on Hay Street. I think it was
everybody was on Hay Street back then. The hippies, The hood hippies,
Yeah, he was
everything.
like a hippie dude. He had locks, and he was.
They tapped in. That's why.
And he was like, "That's them ancestors." But I guess they saw my face. They saw like because I was like, I feel high. But was nothing. Like I just got there. I didn't drink or anything. I didn't get a drink. So that was crazy. I just wanted to share that one because that was like. I feel like my most memorable in the hyphy movie was that me going into a party and I was just dancing and that came out.
That was fun.
Yeah. Do you got any more stories?
What other stories I got? Yeah, there's a story. I guess my funniest story that I wrote about was that I spent like 3 days with Too Short. Not like back to back, but like he was in town and I was doing this cover story for Ruckus magazine, and he was just inviting me out. Like I was like, okay, I got to do this interview, and he's like, all right, come with me to the show. So we went over to like Sweet Jeffries or something.
Sweet Jimmy's.
Sweet Jimmy's or Jeffries Inner Circle. One of them. And he might have even been doing like, this was before Blow the Whistle came out. Okay.
Oh wow.
So he was doing Getting It, but with like a band. Okay. And we were just like, okay, I got to do this interview, but why is he taking me around, me and my 2 other homegirls? Because one of them was with marketing and the other one was a photographer. So that's how we rolled. And he liked that because he was like, okay, we roll lean and mean. So we rolled with him to that spot, and then we rolled with him to another photo shoot. And the entire time, he was like doing these random things like going to the store, getting us water, gum, candy, chips. And he'd come back and he'd pass out water and snacks to us like, I'm like, you're so hospitable. Thank you very much. And I'm like, okay, so what people think about Too Short and how he really is in person is completely different. That changed.
Okay.
That changed because he used to be like, what's up, hip hop? Like he'd be like, what's up, hip hop? And he'd try to put me on game every time he'd see me because he knew the role that I played as a journalist. But like, obviously his background, his pimping and stuff, people like, he like, I even told him, he was like, how come when I dropped this woman off after the club, her girls were all asking me like, are you okay? Are you good? And he's like, I'm not a fucking rapist or anything. And I'm like, but I guess his background, you think that people are like the way that they are when they rap, and he was not like that.
Okay.
But as a feminist, of course, I cannot co-sign his music, the way that he talks about women, especially black women. To this day, I still don't fuck with that. But the person that he was and who he showed himself to me was very respectful, was very supportive, literally invited me to Jack London to go eat lunch with him, paid for everything, took me out. It was just like hella respectful of my lane and trying to put the Bay Area on. And that was a huge surprise for me. Like we stopped at this spot to get papers because he only smokes joints. That's the person. That's the first time I ever saw a career smoker. So he put me on the whole joint game before Wiz Khalifa did all the paper plane shit. He was like, he's like, stop smoking them blunts. You gotta smoke joints. So when he went and picked up some papers, there was this Chinese dude in the he was like serving him, and he was like, you just chilling in the car with Too Short? Like, what y'all doing? I'm like, well, we doing an interview. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. I guess. So it was like the kindness that he showed me as a budding journalist. That also ended up being the clip that I used when I applied for the Rolling Stone show. Was from all of those back-to-back interviews that I did with him for my senior project on hyphy. And so, yeah, that was a pre-hyphy story, but it was a story about an artist that we all associate with hyphy, but actually, he didn't get on the hyphy train until a little bit later. There was a lot of these other younger artists, brand new artists, people like Mr. Fab and everybody who came out that helped usher in the hyphy, and then the OGs were like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to support that, and they ended up making those classics that we know about, like Tell Me When to Go and Blow the Whistle.
That's cool. That's good to know, 'cause I learned something. I learned something. We gonna wrap up the hype.
Yeah.
As it was a good time. Had to be there. Okay. So tell me a memorable moment at a show. Like a show that you had that was memorable, that will always forever stick with you. You remember everything, even the smell of things. Like just memorable. It's just something you would tell your grandkids.
Well, I'm lucky because it happened recently, And it was
Okay.
during my album release tour.
Okay.
It was after my album release party. And even though I loved my album release party, it was amazing and it was full of all of my fans.
Okay.
When I immediately went to LA 4 days later, I was performing at a venue called The Ford. And the Ford is like 1,000 capacity.
Okay.
And it's not often that I get to do those kind of venues as a Filipina MC. But that night that I performed, there were 4 of us, and we packed that place. And we had not just Filipino artists for Filipino History Month, which was in October, but I got to perform my new music, and it sounded amazing on these like huge stadium speakers. Everybody said that my beats knock so hard. And then to have you style me, because we knew that I was going to be this tiny little speck on the
Yes, I
stage.
remember. Ooh, I
So you
remember
put me
that.
in all red, right? All red, because that's what we wanted to do, because it was such a huge stage and it was outdoor. So it was in LA. So we had palm trees. We were like under the stars. And it just made me feel so proud because I never thought that for Filipina artists, it was me, Classy, Camortal, Faith Santia, and Ruby Ibarra would be able to pack out a show like that during Filipino History Month. And then we all finished it with kind of like our Pinay anthem, Us, which is like one of our biggest songs together. It got featured in NBA 2K, a couple of other movies and stuff. Yeah, and that was really cool because I could not think of another lineup as far as like Filipino men in hip hop currently that could do what we did in that moment. And I had waited so long as a Pinay MC to see something like that happen. I've been in the game for a long time. And it was such a full circle moment. And I had my new album to do. And I just felt so confident because I had your help, but also we were able to cement this memory that not just me, but a lot of people that attended that night will like never forget. So,
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And I never heard you talk. Well, we talked about it, but you didn't tell me this detailed about it. See, this is why these are important. You know, you ask these questions. Okay, so I'm gonna add a question.
Okay.
Can you tell me when you opened for Kendrick Lamar?
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, I didn't even realize that I was opening for Kendrick Lamar because it was in 2012. So we were all just coming out. So I went to South by Southwest in 2012 and I went with my homegirls and I happened to be cool with Cashmere Agency whose client is Snoop Dogg. And so Ted Chung, I did a story about him in The Source. I was really cool with Brian Ford. He was my editor at The Source for all the cover stories that I wrote. And so he really liked my freestyle slick talk from my Pop Killer mixtape. And so he knew that I was going to be at South by, and they were putting this Respect the West showcase, right? Remember, West Coast wasn't doing shit in 2012. It was all like Wiz Khalifa and like all these like blog rappers, and so the West was still kind of percolating and wasn't really Kendrick hadn't come out yet like that. He was still doing mixtape. He was still like, you know, K Dot mixtape stuff. Yeah, he was still doing his mixtape stuff. Like I think it might have just only been Section 80 that had come out, not even his major label. So I was the only female on the entire lineup, which is not, you know, unusual, but that lineup is crazy now when you look at it. It's like everybody from the West Coast that was coming out back then, but it had Black Hippie, and it had them individually. It had Absol, it had Schoolboy Q, and it had Kendrick. And so, but everybody was back there. It was like the whole ASAP mob crew was back there. Currency was back there. Everybody was like 20. I know.
I love Currency.
If I name Currency or Larry June, it's don't even pan over to.
I mean, look, I love good hip hop, and I think just working at True is just hearing that old hip hop, and then just kind of going into Currency, Larry June, Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that I would be opening up for Kendrick because we were just all on a bill. I just happened to go first because I was the only woman, which sucks, of course. And they didn't really understand why I was there, but I was just like, whatever. I got to perform at a South by Southwest stage when it was still for the artist and not corporatized.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and then I was backstage watching Black Hippie, and I really wanted to take a picture with them, but I didn't want to bother them because they were in their element. But there was one moment where I made eye contact with Kendrick Lamar. He's so different from all the other rappers. Like, mind you, everybody's mingling and everybody's networking. He stayed with his own crew. When he walked in, he had all these black women with him that looked like family members that just kind of surrounded him. I guess he's antisocial.
Yeah.
And I was smoking a blunt. Like, damn, I wish I could smoke this blunt with him. He looked over at me. I waved at him, like, hi. And he kind of like broke out of his like whatever he was doing. He like waved back at me. And I was like, wow, like he is really showcasing himself to be very different from all these rappers that are back here wanting to rub elbows with everybody. I could tell from that moment that he knew exactly what kind of star power he had. I wish that I asked him for a damn picture back then.
I hope and pray y'all get an interview together. That will be so dope.
You know, there's so many people that I've always wanted to interview. A lot of them had passed before I even became a journalist, like Tupac, like Mac Dre.
Yeah.
And so there's always like those big name people that I wish that I got to interview. But just being in that space and witnessing that myself, like, was really amazing. It was a good consolation prize. But I feel like if I ever did sit down with Kendrick Lamar, I would ask him some really good questions.
Yeah,
so.
you would.
Yeah.
You like, I was like, I have to have her on first. It makes sense. And then just like, you know, I love hip hop, and it's just such a big part of me. I remember even like my uncle used to always listen to hip hop, and I used to be like, what is he listening to? From meeting Tupac younger, from meeting Nas, like I just feel like hip hop always been in my world, like always. So I was like, it makes sense to have you on because you like you're a legend. You have really touched a lot of stuff in the Bay Area, and I don't think a lot of people know. That's why I wanted to do this, so you can open up and like share your story. Because no matter what, you still opened up for Kendrick Lamar.
I sure did.
Period.
I got the T-shirt. I turned it into a poster and I put it over my office. So.
Yeah, so that's an accomplishment.
My lineup right there, and that was the night that I met Nipsey Hussle. So, and I got to smoke with him.
Yeah,
so
see.
That was a beautiful night, and I wasn't going to try to be greedy and like ask for anything more than that because everything that did happen for me in that one trip, and also that was the last trip that I got to hang out with the Jacka. So it was a really good trip for me, and I heard that South by kind of tanked after that year. So I'm grateful to have shared that with my homegirls. Yeah. I wish I had met you first. I wish you were styling back then because my outfits were trash. So they were okay. I was trying my best, but...
Okay. So this is the last question, and then we can open it up and just talk, or you can ask me a question. What is one word you would describe the Bay Area?
Oh my
just
gosh.
one word.
Jubilant.
Jubilant.
You ever heard that word before?
I have not.
Jubilant. It means like ecstatically happy. It means that was the energy that I got. Why would I choose jubilant? That's such a weird word, right? But like sometimes these words just pop up in my head.
Well, I like it.
And the energy of the hyphy movement back then and now to this day, I know nowadays these kids are like, oh my God, can y'all talk about something else besides the hyphy movement? And I feel that, right? I feel that. But when you were there, like we were there, for us to experience that kind of joy in our circumstances that sometimes haven't even changed and sometimes it even got worse, to find any joy in what we go through and together, that's what the Bay Area represents to me, because cultural exchange is why we're great. You know, cultural exchange is why I can rap about having a multi-culti crew. And it's not about me having the one black friend, the one Mexican friend. Oh no, we all here. We pulling up to New Orleans like, there's a Vietnamese guy right there. There's a Mexican dude who's shooting me. There's a black girl who's styling me. There's a Filipino that's rapping. That's the Bay Area.
That's the Bay, yeah.
And if you don't understand it, I'm
That's
sorry.
the Bay.
We are jubilant. Learn that. Jubilant. But I like that word because it also stands for resilience as well. Is that you cannot resist and have resilience without finding joy. So I think that's what the Bay Area is all about.
I love that. I had to drop that. This was I was like, oh my God. And I just was sitting with him. Was like, I need just one more thing. So I knew you was gonna bring it. So I was like, I'm asking her that one question.
I'm not gonna make you say it though.
Jubilance.
Yeah, there you go. Not jubilance, but with a T. Jubilant.
Jubilant.
That sounds like some Cajun from your Louisianan side. Lagniappe, just a little lagniappe.
Put a little shrimp on the side.
Put a little jubilant
like
on the side.
Grits and what's in that's like the name for it. But yeah, so do you want to ask me anything? Do you have anything to add?
You know what? I'm going to ask you one question. Okay. I'm going to come up with it right now.
Okay.
How does it feel to finally be in control of your own story after not knowing if you would survive that one very tragic accident that you had? That I know you talk about it, but I'm witnessing a comeback that's crazy. And it really is like a rebirth of somebody new. Somebody that I know from back in the day, but like is a brand new person. How does it feel for you to finally, like I did when I became a rapper, to be in control of a narrative that on the outside with you as being a black woman, how you're treated versus how you expect people to treat you? Because I think you've made it very clear that you're not for the bullshit no more. And I love seeing it in all facets of what you do, including styling.
First off, I'm grateful. I'll say that for just period. I'm grateful to have an opportunity, the honor to go after what I want. I would say that first. But I heard something, I think like last week I don't know, it was last week. This guy said, and it was so weird to me when he said it, but now that I understand because I'm starting to peel back these layers and like letting it out, he said that I want to leave this earth empty. And I was like, what? So when he stopped and he just kind of just was festering. I'm like, what is he talking about? But when he said that, I started thinking like, and then he started saying it. He was like, I want to leave everything that's in me out in the world. And I felt that because I feel like just organically it's been doing that. Like my ideas are flowing, everything is coming out because I'm allowing it. I'm doing the work. And it feels effing amazing. Like it feels good. Like the high that I get, like I'm like was doing this interview, I'm getting goosebumps because I'm where I'm supposed to be, and it's a amazing feeling. And I'm just taking back what's mine. Like I feel like I always had a throne. Like I was saying not too long ago, I have a crown. Some people is invisible. It's there though. And I have to always understand my crown is there and be able to walk in my true purpose. So that's what this is about. And my comeback is more of my get back. Like I gotta get back the stuff that I lost along the way, because I just feel like I let stuff just kind of go. So I'm just kind of picking some things up and just putting in and restoring. But it's a good feeling. It feels amazing.
And it's not easy.
And it's
hard as hell.
Easy.
You make it look easy, but it's hard as hell.
It's hard. Like
your standards on yourself are like so high.
Yeah, it's hard because the no's, I can't be at everything. I'm learning that if it ain't on a calendar, it's a no. Like I'm getting to that place in my life, I'm just in a place where I'm just like, okay, well, this is what it is. Don't trip off. And I just started, it's like a course with Law Roach, and it's called School of Style. And we had our class Monday. But I was sitting there and, with some panelists that came on and they were in the Corette before. But when they was talking and stuff, and I just started crying, but I'm so grateful. I just kind of like blurted it out. Like, I'm just so grateful, but I'm grateful because everything I want to do, I'm doing. And I'm not like apologizing for it. I'm doing unapologetic. I'm just being myself. And it's coming easy. So I know I'm where I'm supposed to be because it's coming easy and it's there. So yeah, I'm in a good place. I really am. And even when I have my setbacks like Wednesday, I still go for it, and I still just be like, do your best. And we ain't trying, we doing our best, because trying is a maybe. We doing our best.
Yeah.
So I make sure that I put that in my head, like, lay whatever you need to lay on this track, but just keep going. Don't stop. Don't just keep going. So even when I stop a little bit, I still push myself to go. So that's what it's about. Because you going to have hiccups. You going to have stumbles. That's what life is about. But you got to know how to, okay, what's the solution when I have this stumble? What do I need to do to get it together and bring myself back to this place where I'm back on this path? Like, stopping is still gonna be there, so I'm just learning to keep going, figure out a solution. Okay, this is not good for me, let me go this way. So yeah,
I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm proud of you too.
Let me put that on the record real quick, just to let you know while you have me here. Is it? Okay. I'm proud of us, but I'm proud of you for sure.
Because last year when we did that project, we had so much fun, and I cried in New Orleans.
we got very emotional together. That trip was together,
very emotional. It was such. I cried so much on that trip, but
they were happy tears.
It was happy tears. It was releasing, and I'm learning. I know now, like, a lot of my tears is happiness and gratitude, and then it's also trauma. Letting trauma just go, like, so I do cry more. I feel like in this side of my life, this half of my life, I cry more. So, but I'm okay because it's shedding things, tears of joy, trauma. But yeah, New Orleans was good though. That will be always a memorable trip because I had fun.
Oh yeah,
I had so much fun, and I was like, I ain't gaining no weight out here. I shared all my food.
Oh yeah, we shared. Yeah, we ate.
We shared everything. I was like, you want some? I was like, Nina, you want some?
Even the beignets. Yeah. We had tasted every beignet everywhere.
Yes,
but it's better when you share.
My favorite one was at that little cart. You remember, what was your favorite one? Because mine was at the cart.
Well, I had to go, even though we tried all the other ones, and we tried the chocolate sauce, and we tried that last one that we went to.
Which one?
At Cafe Du Monde.
Oh, okay.
I mean, the very last one when D4 was doing the whole Dave Chappelle bit with the what's that guy's name again?
I was like, why you got that beanie on his high?
Yeah, well, because my favorite beignet is Cafe Du Monde because I guess they fry it in cottonseed oil, and that is a higher temperature, so it comes out very, 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 very hot, even hotter than at a regular place. And so when it comes piping hot, and then you dip it into your
coffee,
that chicory coffee.
That is, and I think you're right on that because I do remember saying, I think this is it. But I did like my other favorite was the little cart that we went to when we was on the bayou. Remember when we was shooting?
Yeah. Was that a savory beignet? Really no, everything was good from that cart.
Yes, that cart. Oh, that
TT's by the bayou.
You remember when I was like, this nacho? It was one chip in it.
Those were the best nachos I ever had in my life.
Them nachos was good. Like everything on that cart was good.
That cart loved us because they cleaned up shop that day when we came out. Yeah. Oh, so that beignet was your favorite?
It was funny. It was good. It just was memorable. Like I remember how it tastes.
Yeah.
So when I like something or I think it's good, I gotta remember it.
Yeah.
But I will say Cafe. Yeah, theirs is good because I do always go there when I go. Yeah. But I heard that they got fried. They got fried, but they put it in a glaze, and I need like a donut.
Who does?
I don't know. I gotta find.
Well, I know in Princess and the Frog, Princess Tiana puts a little bit of honey on her beignets so that the powder could stick. And I was like, I wonder if that's what they do. Because I love me some damn beignets. A little bit of honey sound amazing.
Yeah, that do sound good.
Yeah. But
and
that
then
is
hot and then melt a little bit. Ooh.
Because Leah Chase from Dookie Chase was modeled after her, Princess and the Frog. So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. But I'm sure we could talk about New Orleans food all day.
All day. New Orleans was good because I even talked about it when I did the interview.
Yeah, that was a fun trip.
My first podcast, I talked about it. I don't know if we went or we was going. I think we was going.
Oh, we were on our way over
Yeah,
there.
we was on our way to go.
Okay.
And so I was like, yeah, I'm going to New Orleans. So yeah, it's cool to talk about it with you because we went together.
Because that was our trip.
That
Well,
was
thank you
fun,
for
though.
having me, sis. Oh my
Yeah.
God, I'm so grateful to be your first guest.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see how this podcast unfolds with the other guests that you do have. I'm so honored. And if y'all want to see our work together, she styled my entire Long Kiss Goodnight album that came out last September, from the album cover to every music video that we were able to do to my album release run. Monique is the mastermind behind a lot of those looks. So I'm so grateful for you as a friend, as my stylist, as a life partner. We gonna go through this life together.
Yes, we
if we can
are.
make it through the hyphy movement, we can make it through anything.
In the car accident. Girl. 'Cause I remember
Exactly.
you coming in there with the little, because we love the Niners. She came in with, I still got it's on my desk.
Do
I look
you
at it every
really?
day when I go in my office.
Aw.
But she came in with, and I got the little baby. I told you I got the little daughter. It's like a little
Do you?
small one.
You never showed me that. You gotta send me a
I'm gonna take a
picture.
picture of it. But I got like a little one that matches it. But I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna get it. This is the baby.
That's
I
a
seen
gift
it.
that I got Monique when she was in the hospital.
Yeah, so she gave me like this little round. Was it a Teletubby or what?
It was. I thought it was a bear with
A
just like a
Beanie Baby.
49er. Was it just a 49 or something?
Yeah, it was just a round 49er man. And it was so, and I was so happy. She came walking in, and I remember, and she was like, "Mo," and then you look like you was about to cry. I was like, "Don't cry."
And that's when I met your mom too.
Yeah, you met my mom, and yeah, she was the only person in there. I think. Yeah,
No, there was another person in there.
was
but
it? Who was it?
We ain't gonna talk about that person though.
But
But I was there, and your mom was there, and you were
Yeah,
there. That's all that
yeah.
mattered.
And and I remember you coming in. You and like maybe a couple other people I remember. Because some people I don't remember.
Yeah.
So I'm happy you came when you came because I remember you coming. So yeah, we've been through a lot of stuff. So
Are we still going?
and she got my niece and nephew. So Auntie Mo. But thank you so much. Can you tell us where to find you?
Yeah.
And all that good stuff.
Of course, I make it easy. It's literally rockyrivera.com. You can look me up, ROCKYRIVERA. Some people like to say Rocky Riviera. That's not what it is. It's Rivera, okay? I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I have a Patreon, which shows all the BTS which actually shows Mo styling me and how we came up with all the ideas on the fly, and also a lot of BTS from that New Orleans trip and other things is on my Patreon. So if you want to support me directly, which a lot of artists, especially independent artists like me, need, check out my Patreon, or you could just find me at rockyrivera.com. That's where everything is.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us and hearing our stories. This is Fillmonique's World Podcast. Thank you, and subscribe below.